Alright, this is Joe and Colo with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and in this episode I'm actually going to cover a topic I've been thinking a lot about lately. You know, comes up all the time when I'm watching YouTube videos and all this kind of stuff, right? And it's the topic of, is the raw foods diet a sinking ship, right? Or is there a downfall of raw foods just basically in general? I mean, if you guys watch a lot of YouTube, and you know, YouTube is its own particular community. You know, there's a lot of people on YouTube watching and also producing content, and that's only a small reflection of the whole big, large picture, like out in the world. You know, there's some people, believe it or not, that don't even know YouTube exists and don't even know that it's a better source, in many cases, but not always, of information and entertainment than like standard TV or cable or even Netflix, in my opinion, right? Because it's just people sharing their opinions, knowledge, and topics and all this kind of stuff for others. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, there's many, you know, popular YouTubers, you know, in the past and present that really promoted raw foods style diet, eating raw fruits and vegetables, right? And nowadays, a lot of them are jumping ship literally, right? Just like jumping off the Titanic. And they're not really promoting a raw foods diet anymore. That being said, the majority of them are plant-based, although there are a few that even just went back to eating meat and processed junk, and they're gaining tons of weight, and they're just not as healthy, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that is really sad when somebody basically gets off the raw food diet. Now, I want to correct myself there, and we'll talk maybe more about this in a little bit, but I don't like the term raw food diet because it sounds like something you're just doing temporarily, right? And people go on all these weight loss diet, the grapefruit diet, the Mediterranean diet, all these different diets. And I don't want you guys to just be on this raw food diet for a while to cleanse, to lose 5-10 pounds, and then got off it. Of course, it works for things like that. Have met many people, including myself, that have lost weight and gotten healthier because of it. But it only works if you continue to do it. So, you know, I like to say the raw foods diet is actually not a diet, but it's actually a lifestyle. So I like to say the raw foods lifestyle, or even more specifically, talk about what specifically raw foods is. To me, it's a fruit and vegetable, fresh fruit and vegetable dominated diet where I'm eating, the majority of my foods are coming actually from fresh fruits and vegetables. There's all kinds of different raw foods diets out there, you know, one that are high fruit, high vegetables, high fat, high processed raw foods out of a restaurant, all these kind of things. But, you know, I like to promote a more well-balanced raw foods diet. And although I think many people even online are showing that they're leaving a raw foods diet, hopefully they still have a basis in eating, you know, the main foods that should be focused on in a raw foods diet, which is fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. You know, it makes me sad when I see somebody who's eating raw foods and they just totally jump ship and they go plant-based. Hey, that's great, but then they're eating a lot of plant-based processed foods, which, you know, that's one of the reasons hopefully why people went raw in the first place, to eat a more natural diet. And so I just want you guys to know the truth out there, some of my opinions on if people are jumping ship and all this kind of stuff. So much like everything in many of my videos, you know, I always talk about there's pros and cons. It's not like raw foods is dead like an article professed, or the death of raw foods, an article professed in 2013 that a prominent raw fooder who was a raw foods for many years wrote an article. And, you know, raw foods, it's not dead, right? It's slowing down in some ways. It's maybe taking a back seat in some ways to like a plant-based diet, you know, thanks to movies like What the Health that promotes the you know, some of the challenges that can occur if you eat too many animal products and animal products in excess, and that's over 10% of your calories of animal products can be quite unhealthy, you know. But I want movies like What the Health to go even further than just say eat plant-based, because you could eat a lot of junk food. Oreos and Coke are plant-based foods technically, but they're not healthy. So we really want to get out of the processed foods and eat more fruits and vegetables, because these are the healthiest plant foods in the whole entire world. And I want to go back to raw food lifestyle. So what do you, for me, and for what my website that I started back in 1997 or 95, rawfoods.com, you know, I have an FAQ on there, and I define a raw or living foods diet as somebody that eats more than 75% of their food raw. You know, to me, it's never been about 100%. You're either a raw foodist and you're 100% or you're nothing, right? I always like to encourage you guys to do good, better, best. And as long as I think somebody is making a concerted effort to eat 75% of their diet raw foods, hey, call yourself a raw foodist, right? And not just any raw foods. I want, once again, focus on the fresh fruits and the fresh vegetables. And that's very important to me. As I sit here in my garden full of the delicious winter vegetables I'm growing, this bed actually has spinach. And if you guys live in a mild climate zone, zone 9, you guys could still be planting some of these vegetables out. Be sure to check the link down below to my gardening channel where I teach you guys what you could plant right now that I just posted, I think a day or two ago actually. And these guys, I mean, literally I planted these not even a month ago, and now I'm just coming around like every night harvesting one leaf off every plant. I can harvest lettuce, spinach, arugula, I got kale, collards, let's see, what do I got? Oh, like mixed baby greens. All different kinds of things are shooting up and growing in my garden. And you know, this once again is part of a lifestyle. It's not just the diet, it's also other things I do besides just the food I eat to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So nothing is ever pretty much concrete, and raw foods is really not going in a downfall. It may appear to some like that on YouTube or whatever, but the fact of the matter is this: every day people are diagnosed with new health challenges. Some of the top killers in the world, right? According to Dr. Michael Greger, I'll put a link down to his videos down below, his YouTube channel. You know, some of the top diseases of the country that are killing people can be reversed by a plant-based diet. Now, not just any plant-based diet, but a high nutrient, fruit and vegetable dominated plant-based diet. So as many people are maybe jumping out of raw foods, and I want to say that while they might jump out of being 100% raw, I would hopefully believe that most of them are still eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, because most of the people I see actually go back to just a cooked vegan diet. And unfortunately, many of the people I see going back to a cooked vegan diet tend to not eat just like cooked whole vegan foods. They tend to do a lot of processed foods in addition, which I think is sad. But you know, as long as people have a good base in the fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, and you do a little bit of processed stuff, you know, once again, good, better, best. Do the best you guys can. Like for me personally, like I don't want to even, if I start eating cooked foods, it'd be probably, you know, I mean, if I started eating cooked foods, I probably wouldn't want to necessarily go back to eating raw foods, because I won't. I mean, the last time I had cooked foods was many years ago, and some of it tastes really good, and I miss some of those things because those are the comfort foods that I grew up with, right? So I just don't even want to go there. But that being said, you know, I haven't been 100% raw myself, and I've never really claimed in the last long time to be 100% raw. I claim to be like 99% raw. And actually, I'll put a link down below to a video of foods that I eat are knowingly heat processed or cooked for some health benefits. And I think, you know, the raw foods diet can be quite dogmatic and be really strict. And things that are really strict kind of tend to either people are in or they're out. And people, because a person themselves will make up their rules on what is a raw foodist. And as I said, you know, my definition is if you eat 75% or more raw foods or fresh fruits and vegetables, you could consider yourself a raw foodist. But people have to be like, they have this whole perfection ideal. And you know, there shouldn't really be a perfection ideal. It should be about 100% health. And there's plenty of cooked foods that are actually healthy, and in some cases healthier than certain raw foods, especially at raw food restaurants that actually many of them don't seem to be able to stay in business. So maybe that might be telling you something. But the thing is, raw foods is a niche thing. You know, there's not any major, unless you're in a super big city, there's not any big, you know, like crew of raw food people doing it in one place, but we're spread out all over the country. You know, we're each doing our own thing. But anyways, as I was saying, there's people getting diseases all the time, and they're looking for answers, and they find out about juicing or raw foods. Maybe they saw Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, which turns many people on to juicing and how it healed, you know, Joe Cross in the movie from almost dying, literally, and he lost weight and he got a lot healthier. That being said, he himself had been yo-yoing since that movie, so, you know, trying to be so strict. And then, but I think the thing is, you need to create boundaries, you know, on what is appropriate and what isn't. A simple way to do that is to create, you know, green, yellow, and red light foods. You know, green light foods would be foods you always eat, you know, fruits and vegetables I always eat. Yellow light foods might be foods you eat on occasion. And of course, there's red light foods and foods you will never even eat, and things you don't even consider food. Like most of the middle aisles of the grocery store, those are like not even food to me. I just like walk by and I feel sad for some of the people buying some of the really highly processed stuff. fruits and vegetables, I'll always eat those. Some spices, herbs and spices, I'll eat those sometimes. And seaweeds, I might eat those sometimes. I'm not like making meals out of seaweed, but my diet is fruit and vegetable dominated. So while people are coming into raw foods and juicing and eating more fresh fruits and vegetables, people are also leaving. So what is the greater number? I don't know. I don't have any statistics on that. I would like to think that, more people are coming in at the same time people are leaving. That sad thing is, I think when, there's prominent YouTubers making YouTube videos about raw foods and then they personally switch their diet, then a lot of their followers are just followers and they follow what the person is doing, and I don't think that's necessarily the best thing to do. I think it's very important for followers or people watching or subscribing is to think on their own, so I try to give you guys thought-provoking videos where I actually kind of help teach you and get you to realize things for yourself, and I want you guys to experiment with them, right? Lately, my girlfriend, right, she's been going to Trader Joe's and getting some vegan, wraps or something with beans. I mean, it's vegan, it's cooked, but it has like a flour tortilla. And, she likes it. It tastes good, And when we first were going out, she didn't do that. But lately, she's been doing that. And then she'll, go there and she'll eat it. And she'll feel kind of all right. And then, she'll be noticing, I was feeling all right, John, until I ate that, vegan thing from Trader Joe's, which is pretty healthy. I mean, it's whole food based. It's, a little bit processed. I mean, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But, she eats it, because she's not quite as maybe strict as I am, or she's on her own path, and it's cool, But she gets tired, she gets a stomachache after she eats it, and then she's slowly realizing after keep doing this, it's like if you have a hammer and you hit yourself with a hammer, man, it hurts every time. At some point, sooner or later, you got to stop hitting yourself with a hammer, right? And while not all cooked foods are going to do that, if we made wraps. She made wraps in the kitchen out of coconut meat and fresh vegetables from the garden, blended up and dehydrated, made a wrap. Then she would cut up a bunch of vegetables and stuff and put it in there. She feels great after that. Or even if she cooks some beans and rice in the pressure cooker we have, and she'll eat that inside the wrap and she'll feel great. But something about that processed stuff, if you buy something that's already pre-made, you don't know what went into it. If you want to make something processed and make it from scratch and do it all yourself, use the highest quality ingredients, that's totally different, But I really object to people eating pre-made foods because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and it's actually quite sad. So yeah, I want you guys to live and learn from your personal experiences and not just oh, John's doing this, so I'm going to do that. Hey, if I say things and it makes sense to you, try it and see how it affects you. We're all different. Things I do might work for me, but they may not necessarily work for you. I would like to think that what I do would work for many people because there's some solid evidence on many of the things I do. I kind of think about things a lot and research things a lot and then try stuff out on myself before, in many cases I mention it in my videos, if you guys want to try it. Another challenge I think with raw foods that is quite evident that's out there is, raw foods, since I even got into it in the beginning, attracts the fringe, trying to attract some weird people sometimes that already have some maybe personality disorders, or they're sick, or they're just a little bit different than most other people, right? And that's because the raw foods diet, it's basically, or the raw foods lifestyle is a very different lifestyle. It's totally counterculture. Everybody eats cooked food, everybody eats highly processed foods, everybody eats meat, and raw foods is probably the most extreme you could get from what current culture is doing. That being said, it's kind of ironic because, every other animal on Earth eats raw. Not to say that we should always only eat raw because every other animal on Earth does it. We have, figured out how to contain and use fire to our advantage. And that can be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing. Because once again, there's no right and wrong. It's always shades of gray. And I think getting us and people to be more critical thinkers and thinking about things logically for themselves is really important in our society. And unfortunately, a lot of YouTube channels just kind of promote the whole follower mentality. I do this, so you should do this too. And I really want to kind of question many things. But yeah, so raw foods attracts a fringe, and those are people that are into it. And then also, may get out to it. So the next thing I want to talk about is science. Everybody always has these scientific studies. They want to say, oh, science shows plant-based is good. And then paleo eaters say science shows plant-based is not good. We need to eat meat and all this kind of stuff. And, I just want to get back to like defining what is science. So science is the study of nature and behavior of natural things and the knowledge we obtain about them, right? So it's all about natural things. And science has gotten so convoluted, and research studies have been gotten convoluted because people and corporations fund research studies, and you got to kind of wonder, if somebody's funding a study, is there going to be bias in that study, right? Of course, there's many studies now regarding things like drugs and man-made products for profit. And these are not natural things in my opinion. Natural things are like fruits and vegetables. They're like the most natural thing on the planet. And observing like, hey, if you eat fruits and vegetables, you get healthier, or you eat plants, you observe that your blood pressure went down, or whatever, right? And that's just more natural. We've gotten so far away from natural, and in my opinion, it's one of my 10 tenets is that, nature knows best, right? And we need to listen to nature and follow nature, its cycles, its rhythms, its patterns, and we need to observe more, and we've gotten so far away from that, you got to have a documented scientific research study to prove this, or it's not true, right? Well, hey, I encourage you guys yourselves to experiment, right? I mean, I've met so many people that have had their life change by including more fresh fruits and vegetables in their diet. And, recently at a Facebook comment, I said something in one of my Instagram posts was, to have better health, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. And then somebody responded with, to have better health, you need to eliminate meat and animal products. So I want to say that just eliminating meat and animal products doesn't mean you're going to have better health, right? There's plenty of foods that are not animal products that are far worse with dire health consequences than animal products can be, depending on what they are. So even processed plant foods in some cases could be even worse than a small amount of animal foods in somebody's diet, because animal foods are more natural than a highly processed foods with all these man-made chemicals in it. The next thing I want to talk about is raw food, pseudoscience, or dogma. So, there's a lot of dogma in raw foods. I mean, as a raw foodist, when I got into this like 22 years ago now, I was taught certain things and they were like etched into my brain, right? Leukocytosis, enzymes, and all these different things. Some of these things that I learned back then, I've since learned differently. And some of the things that I learned back then, I found to be actually not accurate. So, as I learn new things, I change what I'm saying. So if you're watching a video of mine from like 7-8 years ago, I might be saying some things a little bit different now than then. And what I said then, by all means, that was totally true for me then, but I'm a growing and evolving creature. I'm a living creature. And as I learn and grow, I'm changing my approach. And I would hope that everybody in the world, and especially in a raw foods lifestyle, who are educating others, would also do this and try to keep up to date. I know the world is a huge place. There's so much information coming out and nobody could possibly keep up with everything. But it really makes me sad when raw foods dogma is just being spewed out, right? And that's just what it is, right? There's a lot of dogma with anything, whether that's veganism, raw foodism, Christianityism, any kind of isms, right? It's a belief system. So once again, I want us to think for ourselves about it. One of the things I learned when I got into raw foods was about leukocytosis and how any cooked food causes leukocytosis, which is basically an increase of your white blood cell count that is basically falsely activating your immune system, because your immune system really shouldn't be activated by the food you eat. And I learned that it was any cooked food, right? But since then I've learned from studies that friends of mine have done that it's not just any cooked food, it's actually cooked animal foods when it has foreign proteins in there. So even the crappiest junk vegan foods, not that they're alright or they're healthy, they don't cause actually leukocytosis. That being said, I want you guys to eat foods that'll increase your immune system. Like some of the greens I'm growing and some of the onions and garlic I'm growing that could actually help your immune system. That being said, garlic and onions, not something I make meals out of, but I might include on small amounts because they do have some anti-cancer and health promoting properties. Even like the brassica family plants are anti-aging and anti-disease. The plant foods are very powerful, and these plant foods are powerful only because of the sun and solar energy. The sun comes down and hits these leaves. The leaves basically turn the sunlight into energy, to carbohydrates. The plant makes all these different constituent chemicals or phytochemicals to feed the plant so it could grow, it could have life. It makes these different chemicals to ward off bugs and disease. And then when we eat these, we get these nutrients, and highly processed foods don't have all these phytonutrients that are basically anti-disease. Another statement that I learned about a lot when I was, getting into raw foods was cooked foods is poison, right? And hopefully no raw foodist is saying that these days. I mean, that's just pretty much all dogma. And it's quite true that there are some cooked foods that are actually quite poisonous. It's actually quite true that there are some raw foods that could actually be quite poisonous as well. But the thing is, there's always shades of gray. There's cooked foods that are actually quite much more harmful to you, and cooked foods that are actually much less harmful and even beneficial to you. So, there's always gradients to things, and things could never be black and white. And I think a lot in the raw foods movement, there tends to be a lot of black and white because people want to be right. I want to be right doing raw foods. I want to make it right for me and make all the cooked foods, that I've eaten in the past, and people doing it wrong. And, that's not a real way to create acceptance and bring people and get people excited about this. So, I've really relaxed my approach these days, and I basically just try to get people to eat more fruits and vegetables, right? Because those are the healthiest foods on the planet, and the more you can increase those and decrease or eliminate completely the animal products, and decrease or eliminate completely the processed foods, the junk foods, even vegan processed junk foods, right? Come on, diet cheese, guys, that's not healthy. Now, if you want to, soak your nuts, drain them, and then put some probiotics in there and ferment them for a couple of days and have your own, nut cheese, that could be healthy. I wouldn't eat a ton of that stuff, but hey, putting some of that on your leafy green vegetables, if you get to eat some vegetables, is quite healthy. So getting back to the science, let's talk about some of the science that has been proven, right? It's been shown that eating fruits and vegetables and other whole plant foods time and time again are more healthy when compared on average, whole plant foods, fruits and vegetables against other foods. The whole plant foods generally come out on top in most situations. I mean, what's the only diet ever proven to reverse heart disease, which is the #1 killer in America, right? It's a plant-based diet. And not just a plant-based diet, I would encourage people to eat a fruit and vegetable dominated plant-based diet in their raw, fresh, and minimally processed state. And I know a lot of people out there might just poo-poo a certain YouTuber, this person or that person, because they spout pseudoscience, so then they're all wrong. And I mean, I just had a comment on my video the other day, somebody likes all my videos except for one video I made, and then like, John, you made that one video, now I'm unsubscribing now, right? And I think it's quite sad in our culture. You either like the person or you hate them. It's like if you're going out with your girlfriend or boyfriend, you love them, and then when you break up, you gotta hate them, right? That's just what you have to do. Well, you don't have to do that. You guys could be friends with your exes, right? Even if you agree with a lot of things I do, I'm not always going to agree with everything. You're not my clone, right? And that's fine. People can disagree with me, especially in the comments. If you put things that you think I'm not right, and if you're not mouthing off at me, swearing at me, calling me cuss words, I'll leave the comment, because I mean, this is like freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to say what they believe, their truth, and in my videos, I just share my truths, right? And people might not like me for it, and that's just what it is, but I'm glad I could share my truths, and so many people listen to me and accept most of what I say, because you're still around listening, and that I have valuable things to say. And I think the final part about the science and pseudoscience is that when does fresh fruits and vegetables become pseudoscience? I mean, as I said a little bit earlier, the definition of science is the study of nature and the behavior of natural things and the knowledge we obtain from them, right? So yeah, fruits and vegetables, definitely not pseudoscience, and eat more of them in their raw, natural, uncooked state as possible. So now I want to talk more about the raw foods diet. And once again, I like to call it a raw foods lifestyle, because it's just more of a lifestyle than just something I eat. I mean, it's something that I'm ingrained with. It's ingrained in my life now, is eating fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. I mean, I'm sitting here in my backyard. I have almost every possible inch of my backyard where I could grow something growing. I mean, spinach is here. I got stinging nettles over here, tree collards over there. I got shiso over there, dandelions over there, mint, parsley, lettuce, garlic, yacon, I'm going to harvest some sunchokes in a little bit. I mean, this is a lifestyle. And I think one of the benefits of the raw foods lifestyle, or fruit and vegetable dominated raw foods diet, is just getting back to nature. We're all so disconnected. I mean, you guys are watching this on computer screen, laptop screen, or even iPhone or iPad screen or tablet screen right now. And I mean, that's not really nature, right? Nature is like outside, my feet are grounded, touching the ground right now. I'm sitting in my garden, breathing fresh air. And unfortunately, I think people spend too much time inside. So I want all you guys to get outside, whether that's wandering through your garden, go to a park, take a walk or something. And, you know, it's more of a lifestyle. So, you know, lifestyle encompasses other things, you know, sleeping well, getting good exercise, having good mental, you know, acuity and thoughts. And I think, I mean, diet, of course, is connected to all these things, but it's just one part. And, you know, growing my food, I mean, that's a big connection that I really didn't have before I got into a raw foods. I mean, a raw foods diet and eating fruits and vegetables really got me and motivated to take my diet to the next level by growing higher quality food and actually better tasting food than I could buy at the store. So I would encourage you guys that are into a plant-based or fruit and vegetable dominated diet to start growing some of your food. And I make it easy. I have over 1,300 videos to teach you guys how to do that. Check the link down below this video for my other YouTube channel, growingyourgreens.com. So I believe that although many YouTubers, popular YouTubers, have jumped ship and are still jumping ship and getting off the raw foods bandwagon, if you call it that, right? I think the movement in general is still growing because people might be jumping off, right, and on YouTube, but as a whole, people are always starting to eat more fruits and vegetables because of, you know, many of the different movies. I mentioned some of them out there. What the Health, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I mean, those are still some of the top movies on Netflix, and they get watched by a lot of people, you know, wondering what they're going to watch tonight. And that has a profound influence on people. I mean, my videos, you know, other people's videos that talk about plant-based whole food diets, you know, people come up, those pop up. I mean, I just was in the supermarket the other day, or actually there's a 99-cent store. A guy came up to me, hey, like, you're a YouTuber, man. He's like, I saw your video on such and such, but I was watching like this video and your video popped up and I watched it. And, you know, he's like, and then, so I could turn him on and turn more people on to eating more fresh fruits and vegetables and more plant foods. Because, I mean, I think the world's in a really bad place right now, and as much as people are jumping ship, more people are having health challenges and having situations arise in their life where they're looking for answers. And, of course, raw food, if you look hard enough, is a huge answer, and it's a big part of the solution, right? Once again, you know, eating more healthy foods, some of the plant foods that have the phytochemicals and phytonutrients, they can turn your health around. I mean, I've seen it time and time again, provided you don't start when it's too late. So the thing, there are many different institutes and teachers, both on YouTube and not, promoting a raw foods diet, and that gets many people attracted to the diet on an ongoing basis. And especially when people seek out one of those institutes, or Ann Wigmore or Hippocrates or Optima Health Institute, you know, they generally go there because they have a chronic health condition, and then they go there and then they basically, hopefully, stick on the diet. Although, you know, that's a whole nother topic, is if people can stick to it once they leave one of those facilities, right? In some cases, those facilities I see can make it more challenging for somebody to stick to it and the compliance after they leave, because when they're there, all the food is made for them. They don't really have to do anything except show up, eat, take some classes. But when you get back to the real life, your real world, it can be quite challenging to do this diet. I've set up my life so that I could grow my food, I could do this diet successfully, but I know there's some moms, some dads that are single parents, and, you know, they got a lot of stuff to do. They got to go to a 40-hour job, and they got to incorporate this lifestyle. It can be significantly more challenging. If you guys want me to, give me a thumbs up. I might make some videos on actually how I incorporate this specifically into my lifestyle, if it may help any of you guys. So the question is, John, have you jumped ship or have you bailed on the raw foods diet? Absolutely not. I've not bailed on the raw foods diet. You know, my convictions are stronger than ever nowadays about raw foods. You know, I continue to see benefits in my diet, in my life. You know, although I'm not as raw as I used to be, because I do include some, you know, healthy heat processed foods. And once again, check the link if you're interested in what I'm eating that's actually, you know, heat processed or cooked for my health. I've seen it time and time again where people can get healthier, have healed from it. I mean, I myself got into this diet because I almost lost my life, right? And that was many years ago now, because I had spinal meningitis, which was caused by complement immune deficiency, and I had other autoimmune disorders such as asthma, allergies and ichthyosis that I've gotten over these days, right? Only because of you are what you eat. And so I still believe in this. I'm not jumping ship anytime soon. And even if I did, my diet would still be dominated by fruits and vegetables. That being said, I haven't found a need to, but that being said, right, if you want to do all raw or close to all raw, it can be quite challenging. And this is something that unless you're really into figuring things out, staying on top of getting blood tests and monitoring yourself and not just going along like, oh yeah, I'm going to be all right because this guy says I'm going to be all right, right? You need to adjust and modify your approach. I mean, I take B12 and encourage other people out there to take vitamin B12. That can be quite important. That can be a big problem. I take some DHA, non-fish or algae-based, water-extracted oils in addition to eating flax seeds all the time. There's all these little tidbits of things and tips that you need to do on a consistent and regular basis to be successful over the long term. And just because something's working for you now, like if you're on a high fruit diet now, in a couple years, even next year, doesn't mean that'll still work for you. Our body is constantly learning, evolving, changing, and especially if you're eating high fruit and you're not eating enough leafy greens, in my opinion, that can be quite problematic. Not to say that, I have met people that it's worked for, but I've met plenty of people that it hasn't worked for in the long term. So I always want you guys to not believe any kind of dogma, but always adjust your approach and be flexible with what you're doing, and always eat as much raw foods, or specifically fruits and vegetables, as you possibly can. So I continue to learn, evolve, and grow from my experiences, people's experiences that I meet and I learn from, and research that I do like on a daily basis, watching videos and researching different topics that come into mind. And I always try to improve what I'm doing. And I want you guys to do this too. I haven't mentioned this in a while on my YouTube videos, but it's basically a process of kanai, constant and never-ending improvement, also known as kaizen in Japanese. And that's how, car companies like Toyota, they always, or Honda, they always try to think, how can we make our car better? Even though it's really good, how can we just improve it just a little bit, And I do this by, trying to find out how to grow the highest quality food, because fruits and vegetables, as good as they are, they're only good as good as they are grown, right? And so it's quite apparent to me that even organic food is not the quality that it should be. Things are not being added to the soil to have the highest quality food. So that's why I got into growing my own food. In addition, I grow things that literally money can't buy, right? It's very hard to find stinging nettles, right? Or walking onions that are a lot more stronger flavored than the standard green onions from the store. And these are more phytonutrients, It's hard to find purple shiso leaves that I probably have in the background over there, right? Or pretty hardcore, wild style dandelions or mallow leaves, right? I grow many different, or perilla, well, that's a shiso, or water pepper, right? With different phytonutrients. So I'm trying to expand the variety of foods I'm eating on a constant and never-ending basis. Always have different foods to get different nutrients in me, different phytonutrients. Find new foods that I actually haven't eaten before and experiment with them. I do take some dried powders and things that I can't grow or not able to, get fresh, just to make sure that I'm going to be more balanced and get everything my body needs. And, once again, I encourage everybody out there to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. I'd like to see everybody eat 75% fruits and vegetable dominated diet, and the 25% isn't just junk foods or animal foods, right? It's other whole plant-based foods. So to sum this video up, I want to let you guys know that I will always encourage and support people eating more fresh fruits and vegetables. Whether you want to call that a raw foods diet, whether you want to call it a plant-based diet, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, the dominant portion of a vegan, vegetarian, raw foods diet, plant-based diet, even paleo diet should be the vegetables and the fruits and other high nutrient plant foods, right? If you guys haven't seen any of my other videos before, a really good diet I'd recommend for you guys, because there is a book on it, is Dr. Joel Fuhrman's books, The End of Heart Disease, Eat to Live. He has many different recipe books. They are cooked food books, but they really focus on nutrient-dense foods, right? Of course, juicing And vacuum blending are two of my favorite ways to get more fruits and vegetables in me. I think I calculated it just the other day that on just in one day I ate over 10 pounds of fruits and vegetables in my diet, including, you know, some of that juice, some of that eaten as a salad, some of that, you know, blended up, right? Vacuum blended. And so we can run on fruits and vegetables. You guys can do it, and I want to encourage you guys to do more of it. And that raw foods diet or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, is not dead. Nobody's jumped ship. It's still here. It's going to keep moving on. It may not ever be a dominant diet in the world, but you know, it'll be followed by many, and hopefully everybody who's plant-based hopefully eats plenty of fruits and vegetables. You know, I do meet some vegetarians and vegans sometimes, and I look at their grocery cart and they barely have any fruits and vegetables in there. And that just makes me sad because, you know, they are the best foods on the planet, and I want you guys to eat a wider variety of them and more of them in your daily lives. And once again, I like juicing because it literally allows me to compress a lot of fruits and vegetables into one juice. I mean, this morning I had 32 ounces of juice, and it takes about a pound of produce to make 8 ounces of juice. So that was like 4 pounds of produce went into my 32-ounce juice. And after I'm done making this video, I'm going to go inside and probably eat about 2 pounds of pineapple guavas or fajoas. Also, be sure to subscribe or you know, follow me on Instagram. You can see some of the fajoas I'm eating today and just ate the other day. I have pictures from my garden and foods I'm eating, things I'm harvesting. It's always fun to kind of see what I'm doing. Also, be sure, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, right? That'll encourage me to do more videos like this. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes that are coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. And also be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes, I think over 500 on this channel now, dedicated to teach you guys all aspects on how you guys could eat and include more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet so you guys could be healthier. Also, be sure to leave some comments down below. Hey, if you have a topic or a video topic of something you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to show, what I'm doing in my life, hey, put your comments down below. I'll try to read them and make some videos based on some of your guys' suggestions. And finally, I want to thank my awesome video editor, Sandra, who gave me the idea for this video today. She's pretty much up on the game on editing my videos. She does a fabulous, amazing job. So hey, give some love to her down in the comments down below, because I wouldn't really be able to be here if it wasn't for her awesome editing skills. All right? So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.